The Los Angeles Chargers got even more good news after their victory in the first preseason game against the Houston Texans. It was a fantastic day of practice. We're going to break it all down here on the show. Chargers Now is presented by PrizePicks. I am your host, Will Ortner. And I think there were a lot of positives that we were able to glean from the game. I mean, when you win a game by as much as that Chargers team did, look, I know it's the preseason, but you still went in and took care of business on the road. There are always going to be things to be excited about. But what I think is more important for this Chargers team is that they didn't take today's practice off. It was come in, find a way to work, and find a way to get better. And so that's always going to be on the important side. We're going to break down all that news. But first, you're going to hit that subscribe button because we are just 300 subscribers away from getting all the way to 6,000 subs on the channel. That is a huge deal. We've been racing up one of the quickest growth channels here at Chat Sports. We've only been around for about 8 months now, I think is the deal. So the fact that we're basically 1,000 subs per month is huge. So hit that subscribe button. You get the latest Chargers news and rumors all stinking year long. So let's talk about Jake Slaughter because there were some good things to discuss when it came to his showing for the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of people that look at PFF grades and say, oh man, Slaughter didn't have one of the better PFF grade days. That's not what I'm looking at here. As a former offensive lineman, I was able to watch a little bit more of the film back and get a better breakdown after having the last 2 days to kind of really digest the performance. And I felt that Slaughter looked really good at that left guard spot. He was moving fluidly, quickly, getting to a lot of blocks. In this outside zone type of system, you have to be able to move. You have to be able to run. And for Slaughter, someone who is a backup center, but really more importantly, someone who has played center basically his entire career, to go out and show that he's got a little bit of wiggle, he's got a little bit of movement, he's got an ability to really get loose, I do think is going to be important in this position battle, because when you look at the different guys that have been rotating in at that left guard spot, he is the one that has the most upside. The growth potential is there because Slaughter is really just scratching the surface. The Chargers at practice today, they had Jake Slaughter back out there practicing for Justin Herbert, and I think that that is a really good sign because not only did he have a good game, he was rewarded for having that good game. I think oftentimes we find individuals who are in leadership roles or in power positions who say, well, hey, you know what? You had a good game, but we were still planning on having this rotation. That's not what Mike McDaniel or Jim Harbaugh did. They said, you know what? You had a good game. Let's give you a little bit of a kudos there. Now, there was a bit of a rotation, and Jake Slaughter was not the only one who looked good at that left guard position. And I think that that's something that's really important to discuss on the show, too, because we're not just going to sit up here and shill for one individual and one player. We're going to talk about a multitude of other guys, and there is someone who has been really pushing to get that left guard spot, and that is one Coyote Oshika. He has been absolutely fantastic as he's pushing for that role. Now, there are going to be some, myself kind of probably included on this one, that does wish that the Chargers had done more in the offseason than just get someone who has been a perennial backup to potentially go and take over that spot. But to have a PFF grade of 90 is big. Now, I will say this, just the same way that I did with Slaughter. PFF grades are not the end-all, be-all. Just because he had a 90 doesn't mean that's what the Chargers had him graded out at. But it did sound like there were a lot of positives coming from Harbaugh and the rest of that offensive staff. I think this left guard battle is now becoming more of a iron sharpens iron type of a thing. This isn't a situation where it is like, oh, well, okay, who looks the least bad? Who is the person that's playing the best and not looking poor, right? This is a battle that, as it's gone on, I think there are more good things to say about Jake Slaughter. I think there are more good things to say about Coyote Oshika, to say about Branson Taylor. The more that this goes on, it feels like people are trying to win the job, not trying to not lose the job. And that is something that is important that we always have to make sure that we tip our cap to and we hold on to really tight and dearly in our hearts. You want guys winning the job, not guys holding on to the job. We have a lot more to discuss on the program today, but first, I need to let you know that today's show is made possible by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 sports picks app and is the best place to win cash while watching sports. With the football season right around the corner, there's no better time to cash in with our friends at PrizePicks. And I'll tell you this, the app is really easy to use. For player picks, just pick more or less on a few players' stats and lock in your lineup. That's it. Prize Picks is available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida. One thing I love is the new social feeds feature, where you can share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups with a single click. You can actually follow me on the app, at BigWill7774, to see all of my lineups. I have a lineup for the football action going on later on this year. Justin Herbert, more on his pass yards. Quentin Johnston, more on his receiving TDs. Rashid Shaheed, more on his receiving yards. New user offer. Best of all, play your first $5 and get $150 in lineups if you win. Just use code HMA when you sign up. That's right. Prize Picks just switched up their offer, so there's no better time to join. Lock in and win that first lineup. That's code HMA at sign up to get $150 in bonus lineups if you win your first $5 plus lineup. So how'd the quarterbacks look today? I think it's easy for a lot of people to kind of look at how the players were performing and understand that was not the best showing last night, or Thursday night, I should say, for Trey Lance. When you look at the Chargers depth chart, I have actually been kind of at the forefront of pushing DJ Uiagalelei to that QB2 spot over Trey Lance. Now, I don't know that they're there fully yet, right? Trey Lance got the majority of the snaps. Trey Lance showed that the Chargers have a little bit more belief, have maybe a little bit more faith in him being that QB2 than they have in potentially DJ Uiagalelei. Yet, from everything that we heard during OTAs, mandatory minicamp, and now what we've seen so far during training camp, DJU is playing like a player that deserves to move higher up in this depth chart. When you look at the PFF grades for this game against the Texans, Trey Lance really struggled, man. He didn't look all that great. He had moments where it's like, yeah, I can trust that guy. He had moments where he made a good throw here or there, but really he had one interception. He probably should have had 2 or 3. His throws to Brennan Thompson just were not on target in the way that they needed to be. And I think that's really unfortunate. DJU, in my opinion, has played himself into a spot where you have to, at the very least, consider him a really good player to take over that QB2 role. Now, there are going to be some that are going to say, Will, I don't like either of those options. Okay, well, then maybe you need to get on the horn and try and call someone for a trade. Maybe you need to look in free agency. But I like DJU a lot right now, man. He's doing the things the way that the Chargers want him to do them. He's making sure that he put the football in a spot where his guys could go and get it. I never felt like he threw a football that could have got intercepted. The ball was never in harm's way. He pushed the ball down the field. He used his legs when he needed to. He wasn't afraid to dump the ball off. Did a great job of reading the defense. I thought that DJU looked good, and I think that's important to remember. Did you like how the Chargers played on Thursday night? Lots of positives. Certainly could be some negatives in there. Let me know what your opinion was on how the Chargers looked in their first action of the 2026 season, even though it was a preseason game. Let's talk about Rashawn Slater a little bit here. I want to make sure that we discuss the star left tackle for this team. He's been missing a lot of practice recently, dealing with what it seems to be another knee injury, although not necessarily, clearly not as severe as his one last year, but not necessarily impacting him the same way. It certainly just seems like this is something that could potentially pop up because it's training camp, because it's preseason. You know, he's a guy that you're going to need, you're going to want to lean on. Okay, let's not push him into anything. Let's not force him onto the field. Let's give him his time to rehab himself off of this. This is something that happens from time to time as well. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I'm a YouTuber talking to you right now, but it does feel like when guys have injuries like this, they have re-aggravations from time to time. They have, little things flare up. If this was a regular season game, does that fully keep Slater out? I don't know about that, but it feels like if there was ever a time to take some time to rest, now is, of course, that opportunity. It seems like the Chargers aren't concerned, so I'm not going to be concerned about it. I'm not going to be concerned about still missing practice either. That seems to be something that they have been discussing. Akeem Mesidor, I want to end the show with him because you had this big pick. Obviously, he's your first rounder that you take in the 2026 NFL draft. He came out, and while he might not have gotten a sack in the game, it certainly sounds like there was a lot of success for him from an attitude, effort, and hustle standpoint. A lot of people in that Chargers organization were very, very happy with him and what he was able to do and able to accomplish for this team. What I think was the most important and what I think was the most impressive was just how he was able to put his best foot forward. He was an attitude effort guy, high communication guy, made sure that he didn't just show up and act like, hey, this is what's going to be given to me. Good things are all going to go my way. I felt like Mesidor really pushed forward in this game. And while you might not have seen it turn up on the stat line, I still think that it showed that Mesidor is someone that's certainly going to work or potentially outwork those around him. Which Chargers player needs to show you something this Thursday? Chargers obviously have another game coming up right around the corner. Who do you think needs to go in and show out? Who's someone who you were hoping for more in the last game? Didn't really get there. I'm interested to know, so let us know that down below in our comment section. Subscribe to the channel. Don't miss out. Help us get to that 6K mark. We've been searching for it. I think we can get there rather quickly. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video. Can't wait to see you next time. And as always, bolt the freak up.